is another episode of The Fuzzy Mike.
This is The Fuzzy Mike, the interview series without format, without boundaries, without focus. Fuzzy, pretty much based on this goofy-looking microphone here.
Tip of a horse's tail.
This is The Fuzzy Mike.
My interests are... they're vastly enormous.
Damon Bradshaw is the driver of the Monster Energy monster truck.
I love NASA. I love death metal.
Lindsey Wink, you are a fan favorite.
I don't get to talk about that on the radio, and so this is like my little outlet.
When I get to talk to artists that I really look up to and I admire, and I don't think you've ever written a bad song, this just makes it totally worthwhile for me.
What's your email?
The Fuzzy Mike, there we go.
We are at Baby Bull Gym. We are talking to four-time world champion and our good friend, Juan Baby Bull Diaz. How are you, sir?
Well, I'm doing very good, Kevin. Thank you for having me on the show.
It's a pleasure. Okay, let's just first get the preliminaries out of the way. Why are you ducking me? I know I'm 40 pounds heavier than you, but come on, man. We got to spar one time, don't we?
Well, you bring these fussy mics in here, and, it makes me wonder if you got some ties with Mr. Don King himself.
Look at these things. You are coming off of an injury, a rotator cuff surgery that was 6 months on the shelf rehabbing, but you've got a fight coming up at the Arena Theater. How you feeling?
I'm feeling great, Kevin. I'm excited. I'm motivated. I've been training for 4 months since the doctor gave me the green light. I said, let's get in there and call my coaches up. We started training. So it's been a long training camp. The first fight on the comeback is always the hardest.
How disheartening was it to have the rotator cuff injury happen right as you're training for another world championship fight? It
was heartbreaking, Kevin. I was heartbroken. I couldn't believe it that after my comeback, my return, from a 2-year layoff, I was 5-0. I was feeling great. The fight was already scheduled to be May 2nd in Las Vegas, 2015. And it was just heartbreaking that I was in here in the gym sparring, and I got injured, and that was it. That's all she wrote.
So now I know you have 2 more sparring sessions left before the fight on Saturday evening at the Arena Theater against Fernando Garcia. In the back of your mind, are you... I got to take it easy because I'm so close to the fight, or is it, you know what, I'm 100% healthy, let's go gung-ho?
That's the way you have to see it in this sport, Kevin. You don't play boxing. So even though I'm in the ring sparring and the sparring partners know that I'm 1 week away, it's all out. It's all out. And if I go in there and take it easy, I might get hurt or get knocked out here in sparring.
4-time world champion Juan Baby Bull Diaz is our guest on The Fuzzy Mike. You can see Juan in action this Saturday evening, the Arena Theater. Tickets are available. Just go to arenahouston.com and you can purchase those tickets. The Fuzzy Mike will be there. We already have our seats. Mike Alvarado is on the bill as well. He will be the co-feature that night. You are the headliner. Same weight division, junior welter, if I'm not mistaken, about 140 pounds. Normally, they have fighters on the card that may eventually face each other. Is this a Juan wins, Mike wins, head-to-head sort of thing next time?
Well, Mike is in the junior welterweight division, and I'm actually in the lightweight division, Kevin.
Okay, so you're in the lightweight, so there's a 5-pound difference there.
It's a 5-pound difference, and a lot of people don't realize it, but 5 pounds does make a big difference.
In what? 5 pounds makes a big difference in what?
Let me tell you why. Okay, so, for example, I come in and weigh 135 pounds. I rehydrate, I eat to, gain maybe 7 pounds. So I'm weighing about 142 pounds. A 140 pounder may come in at 140 and rehydrate to 150. So that's almost 10 pounds difference. So 10 pounds is a big difference when you're in the ring and you're trying to push the guy around. They're heavier. They're just harder to push around.
Do they punch harder at that weight?
They do punch harder. I mean, you figure, okay, you get you hit a guy with the regular punch, and then you put a 10-pound dumbbell on your hand. You see the difference where 10 pounds can make a difference.
Well, and on the flip side of that, too, they can take more of your shots because they have more bulk to them.
Absolutely. They have
so they're
more
harder
cushion.
to knock out. They have more cushion. Let's talk about your second career. You retired for 2 years. So now your second part of your career, you're 5-0. You started out in your first career 33-0. You're 33-0.
Yes, 33-0.
As you continue to remain undefeated, what's the pressure like? Do you think about that? Do you think about, man, if I lose a fight, my O goes?
Absolutely. I mean, the pressure is tremendous. I mean, Kevin, imagine being the undisputed lightweight champion of the world. You're 33-0, and you know that every guy that steps in the ring with you is trying to knock your head out, is trying to take that belt. So besides the pressure of the fight, there's that pressure of the O leaving. So every time you step in the ring, you're thinking, is this my last fight as undefeated champion? Is this it? Is this it? I mean, it's just tremendous pressure. I think the pressure of losing and getting that first loss is greater than stepping in the ring with your opponent.
Really?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, once you're there, you're at the pinnacle, you're at the top. You know, it's like climbing up Mount Everest, and you know, you made it. It's you know, you want to stay there, and you don't want nothing to bring you down. But yeah, I think now looking back, and it's a great question because I've never thought about it that way. But now looking back, that was one of the pressures, the most pressure that I had is losing.
What's more pressure? Climbing the ranks in trying to get that first world championship fight, or winning that world championship fight and then keeping the belt?
The pressure is winning the championship belt and keeping it, because when you're climbing the ranks, you know, they say, hey, look, we got this kid here. He's doing real good, and he might be champion. He might not. There's so many doubts, you know. But when you're champion, you're there. They expect you to win. People expect you to win. The networks expect you to win. You know, that's why I feel so good right now in the position that I am, because there's a lot of naysayers. There's a lot of people out there in the boxing industry saying, oh, Juan's washed up. He's 32 years old, rotator cuff. He's done. So there's no pressure right now. It feels awesome. So whatever I do now is icing on the cake. Oh, every win that I achieve is just shutting some people up, and no pressure whatsoever. Now, when I get to that championship fight, it's not going to be no pressure either, because they're going to, the naysayers are going to say, well, he got lucky. You know, he's going to lose this fight. He's not supposed to be here. When I win the belt, then that's when the pressure starts.
Your longtime mentor, Willie Savannah, has come out on record and said he is against this comeback. He thinks that you're being told things that you shouldn't be being told, and you're the kind of guy that when somebody tells you that you can do something or says that you should do something, you will do it. How do you respond to that?
I still talk to Mr. Willie Savannah. We have a great relationship, but you know, I told him, Mr. Savannah, I'm a grown man now. I think I'm able to make my own decisions. And the reason why at this point we're not working together, we have a great father-son relationship. But as you know, a father gets a little too much involved with the son, and it puts pressure on me. So when I'm stepping in the ring, a father's gonna tell you things that you don't want to hear. You shouldn't do this. You shouldn't do that. And sometimes they're blindsided. Fathers are blindsided by that love that they don't let the son achieve his full potential. So it was time for me to tell Mr. Savannah, it's time to let go, and it's time for me to do my own thing.
As he says that he's skeptical of your comeback, he also says, I love Juan like a son. I think the majority of the reason that he says those things is because he truly does care about you. I don't think it has anything to do with him not being a part of Team Baby Bull anymore. I think it is all because of the love he has for you in his heart.
Absolutely. A father is, I'm a father myself, and they're very critical of their children. So you want them to be the best. So for example, I'm in here sparring, and he sees that I'm getting hit too much, but other people may say he's doing good. I think it's that love that sometimes blinds people to see what's really going on. And I think he has so much love for me that he's kind of blinded in seeing that he doesn't want to see me hurt or get hurt.
None of your family, none of your friends want to see you get hurt. You are a beloved person in the Houston community, not only because you're a gregarious person, you're a kind, humble person, but also because you are so community involved. How much smarter are you in this second career than you were in your first career?
Well, I'm a little bit smarter because now I don't try to take too much punishment. In the past, I was an all-out action fighter. I would go in there and not really care whether I got hit or not. Now, my average was about 80 punches per round. Now I'm averaging in between 50 and 60 punches per round, but I'm placing them a little bit more. I'm being a little bit more accurate with my punches, so I'm not wasting any punches. So whenever you throw 80 punches per round, you're prone to getting hit with that many more punches. So now I'm, counter reacting and moving my head a little bit more, being a little bit more intelligent in there, because I do have 3 kids and I want to see them grow up.
Was money the motivation for you to come back?
Absolutely not. I have my own business, and as a matter of fact, it's funny because I was just talking to my trainer, Dorian Richards, and he was asking me, look, he was telling me, look, I'm really looking at you every day in here, and I'm gauging to see where you at, because I want you to be an A-level fighter. I don't want you to be a B and C and D-level fighter. And I told him, look, Derwin, you know what? I make more on a weekly basis than I'm gonna make in this fight. So I'm not doing it to be a C and D level fighter. I'm not doing it for a paycheck. I'm doing it because I want to become a 5-time world champion.
So then that begs the question, if you're financially set with your side businesses, why get back into the hurt game?
Because, Kevin, I'm going to tell you, this sport is like a drug. You can ask many boxers why they come back. And I've never done drugs, but some of these addicts, the way they fiend for these drugs is how I fiend for boxing. And that, let me tell you, after a victory, it only lasts. I'm getting goosebumps right now talking about it.
You do have them.
Yeah. I only get that for that one night, that high that I'm invincible, I'm untouchable. Nobody can tell me anything or do anything to take that high away. It's like they inject me with energy drink, and I'm just on cloud 9 for the whole night.
If the high's that high after a Nate Campbell defeat, how low's the low?
Man, I'm telling you, it sucks, especially losing, getting that O and
the belt.
And the belts. I mean, you basically feel like trash. The high's that high, but then when that low is, you feel like trash and you feel like you're nothing.
Top Rank is now your
Promotional company.
Okay, the promotional company. They are investing some money in you, hoping that you will get back to the heyday where you can bring 18,000 fans into Toyota Center. What is it like walking in to your home city, 18,000 of your closest friends and fans screaming and chanting your name? What is that like?
Do
you hear it?
Yes. And that was one of the first times in my life, Kevin, I can tell you here seriously that I actually got nervous and was a little bit scared, when I climbed that ring against Juan Manuel Marquez, and the people just stomping their feet, clapping, cheering, goosebumps all over my body. And I look across the ring and I say, man, I'm really going to do this against a future legend. So it's an experience like no other.
You talk about Juan Manuel Marquez. 2009, I think, was the fight of the year.
Yes.
Fight of the year. Take me back to that night. I mean, you're throwing 80 punches around. You're fighting a future Hall of Famer, a legend in the sport. What is going through your mind as you're exchanging blows with this?
Kevin, I stepped in the ring and I'm thinking, I'm going to knock this old man out. At the time, I was 25. He was 35. So I stepped in there. And this is where the lows get really low. I trained for that fight. I put my sweat, blood, tears, everything in that fight. So that night, I stepped in the ring and I wasn't going to get a no. In my heart, I felt that I was going to win and I was going to go and become a superstar. And when that didn't happen, I mean, I was so confident. I stepped in there and I said, this old man can't handle me. He cannot keep up with my 80 punches per round. I'm 25 years old. He's 35. He's going down. And he was moving up in weight class. That was his first fight at lightweight. So he had no business in there with me. That's what I thought. But apparently, he knew something else.
What is it about Mexican fighters that always bring the show?
Well, I think it comes from the roots of our ancestors. You know, we come from Indian heritage, Indian blood, and the Indians were always straightforward. You know, would attack, would kill their food. You know, so I think it just comes from our heritage. And most fighters, they're Mexican fighters, they're pressure fighters. It's rare that you find a boxer that boxes. And we do have some Mexican boxers, but it's mainly just fighters.
So, Juan Diaz, 4-time world champion, who you can see at the Arena Theater this coming Saturday. You're smarter now. You throw 50 to 60 punches around instead of 80. But if somebody like Fernando Garcia, your opponent this coming Saturday, gets you into a brawl, will you fall back on those tendencies?
Well, Kevin, you know, it's one of those things where you can work and strategize all you want in the gym. You know, you can pretend to be a smarter fighter, but at the end of the day, once you get hit, it changes everything. So if Fernando Garcia comes in there and he tries to think that he's going to come to my city and, you know, outwork me, outpunch me, it's going to have to change. You know, I think I might have to revert back to what I was in the past.
For somebody who has never been punched, I've never been punched in the face. What does it feel like?
Well, I mean, we can step outside and go and I'll show you real quickly.
I was just kidding about that sparring session earlier, champ. No, but is it something that you can condition yourself to over time, or is it something that it happens the first time and you're like, hey, you know what? I can take this.
You know, Kevin, that's a great question, because a lot of people ask me that. How does it feel, or what it's like? Well, I tell them, look, if you're walking, you know, in your class or somewhere and you bump your head, how does that feel? Does it hurt? Oh, heck yeah, it hurts. You know, sometimes you see little stars. That's exactly how it feels with me. I tell them, and it's the very truth. You know, you have to condition your brain, your body, everything. So, for example, the first day of sparring, when I'm in training camp, I start training camp. I do hand pads and road work, all that stuff for about a month. And then after a month, I start sparring, condition my body. So the first day of sparring, I have to go home. I have to take 4 Advil because my head hurts, my body hurts. I'm not used to getting punched in the head or in my body. So I have to condition myself. After, I would say, about a week of sparring, then the pain starts to minimize. And now, you know, a week before the fight, I don't even feel the punches anymore.
Really?
So it's, you know, you have to condition your brain, your head, your body, your arms, your shoulders, legs, everything.
In 44 pro fights, what's the most hurt you've been in?
Well, the most hurt is, I would have to say, back, I don't remember the year, but I remember the fighter, Ubaldo Hernandez, and we were fighting at Showtime, and he hit me so hard that I don't even remember what happened after the second round. I just remember waking up in the dressing room. Brian's my strength and conditioning coach.
Brian Caldwell.
He was taking off my shoes. And Kevin, to this day, I don't remember what happened after the second round. I see the fight because it was televised. I've seen the fight several times, but he just hit me so hard, I blacked out and my body just kept fighting.
You've been cut a couple times, once against Nate Campbell, once against Juan Manuel Marquez. I believe it was either in the 8th or 9th round of the second fight. I see the little scar above your eye. What does it feel like to be cut in a fight? Do you feel it, number one?
You do. You feel, you know, your body's so hot. It's full of adrenaline. Once you get cut, you know right away, because you start feeling a very cold sensation. It's very cold. And I don't know why that is, but every time I've been cut maybe 4 times in a professional fight, and every time I'm like, damn, you know, I shrug my glove across my face or wherever I'm cut, and I look, and sure enough, it's blood, because you know right away. It's kind of like putting icy hot. You know, you put it gets really cold once you put it on, and then it gets hot.
Yeah.
Well, that's exactly how it feels when you get cut.
How does it change your mindset?
Well, it depends on where the cut is. If it's, you know, right above the eyelid and it's messing with your vision, you kind of worry a little bit. But it's kind of one of those things where you just have to fight through it and keep on fighting. Though I don't think it changes so much psychologically. It changes the mood of the fight, because if you're winning and everything's going good and then you get cut, well, that blood is going to start pouring in your eyes. You're not going to see punches coming at you like you would if you didn't have anything in your eyes. So it changes the mood of the fight. It doesn't really change your mindset. Your mindset is just to go in there and win.
What does your cut man in the corner do, and how does that feel? What do they put on it, number one?
They're limited to what they can put. They're very limited.
Is that right?
They're very limited. So you can use a few things, and one of them is adrenaline 1000 is basically all you can use. So they put that adrenaline 1000 to kind of stop the bleeding, and they apply a lot of pressure. So when they say you have the best cutman here and there or whatever, they're very limited to what they can use.
But they can still make or break a fight for you.
They sure can, because
they can save your fight.
Yeah, because if you go in there and a cutman doesn't apply the right amount of pressure, that blood's gonna keep on pouring out.
7:30 on Saturday evening, the Arena Theater. 4-time world champion Juan Baby Bull Diaz, a graduate of the University of Houston downtown. You are headlining. It is another fight in your step of a second career, a comeback, and another kind of stepping stone to get you to a 5th world championship. What will that mean to you?
I want to achieve that 5th world title. Why? Because I want to be in the history books and say, this is Juan Baby Bull Diaz was a guy that cannot punch. He wasn't the hardest puncher in the sport or in this weight class. He wasn't the fastest, but yet and still, he was able to achieve and become a 5-time world champion. Not a lot of guys with not power and speed, they don't do that.
Are you a Hall of Famer right now?
I don't think so. I don't.
4-time world champion, not a Hall of Famer?
I think,
you retire right now. You don't think you're in?
I think a lot of 4-time world champions that you see, they move up different weight classes. Maybe I'm not giving myself enough credit, but I think what might land me in the Hall of Fame might be that I did become a world champion at the age of 20. So I tied with Mike Tyson.
Yeah.
So maybe that, but I think some of these fighters they do it at different weight classes, and that's something something amazing in itself.
You get into the Boxing Hall of Fame. What does that say about you?
If one day I ever achieved that, it would mean that I did something in this life, and I can go to my my 2 boys and tell them, look, no less than this.
Will you let your 2 boys fight?
It's hard. If they want to try the sport, I would let them, but I know the sacrifices and how hard it is. So, depending on how they are, because you look at your kids, and one of them, my oldest is very smart, so I don't think I would want that brain to get hit and not let him achieve his full potential.
But that's what people feel about you. People feel that the way that you feel about your son, that he's smart, you don't want to see him get hit in the head. People feel the same way about you, especially when you were in school. You're in high school and you're fighting professionally. How did you balance that? How did you balance school and professional career at the age of 16?
Well, Kevin, I think this is a big difference between, for example, my sons and myself. I came from a very poor family. My parents came to the United States. We were sleeping in the floor. I remember walking to the grocery store. And this is a very funny story that, to this day, I did tell my parents that, I was 8 years old. I was very overweight. I was 108 pounds. And we were walking, and I was so tired that I stuck out my hand, and I was just waving. I was like, somebody please help us, help us. And, sure enough, somebody stopped and they gave us a ride. So all of that is motivation, Kevin. When I was growing up, I didn't want to go back to that situation. Eventually, our situation improved. We got a bed, we got a car. My parents moved up in the world, and I don't ever want to go back to that situation again. So that was a motivation at 16 years old.
How proud are your parents of what you have accomplished?
They're extremely proud.
What is more prideful for them, that you're a 4-time world champion or a college graduate?
My mom, that I'm a college graduate. My father, that I'm a 4-time world champion. I'm not even gonna lie about that one.
Has mom come around to your career as a world champion boxer? I mean, obviously she supports you, but is she still...
Absolutely. Here's where we can bring Mr. Willie Savannah back. And my mom is the same way. She doesn't want me to do it. She wants me to stop. But she said, look, if you're going to keep doing it, I'm going to support you. I don't want you to do it, but I'm going to support you.
Your first big paycheck, how did you repay them for the sacrifices they made?
What I did was I went to the Ford dealership. I took my father with me and a brand new Lariat. And I said, oh, what you think about this, Dad? This is a good truck for me? He's like, yeah, I think so. So we in there, we paid for it, got the keys. As soon as we were going to walk out, I told him, here, Dad. He's like, what? It's for you. Thank you for everything you've done for me. So, yeah, that was a great feeling, and I did.
I just got goosebumps.
Yeah.
Seriously.
So, yeah, that was, I remember clearly. And it was, to see the smile on my father's face, it was priceless.
Saturday night, the Arena Theater. Tickets are still available, but not many. So go to arenahouston.com and get your tickets. Okay, real quick. Boxing is kind of a shady sport sometimes. Not the greatest reputation. What's the shadiest thing somebody has either done to you or asked you to do in the sport?
Man, and I can tell you that right now. As soon as you said that, I started thinking about my experience back in 2007 against the fussy-haired Don King. I could say so many things about him, but I'm not.
Oh, really?
Yeah. The thing I'm gonna say is that he's actually the reason. He actually handed my first loss, and I'm gonna tell you why. Because my contract, that was the last fight. That was the last fight on the contract against Nate Campbell back in 2007, and the fight was gonna be here in Houston, Texas. So since it was the last fight, we were going back and forth, and he said, look, I want you to sign an extension right now before the fight. And I said, no, Mr. Willie Savannah, we went back and forth with Don King. We fought, and so we didn't. We're like, no, we want to see what happens after this fight, because if I would have won that fight, then we would have had more negotiating power, means more money for us.
Of
so
course.
we were being smart. It was our last fight. And Don King said, okay. Well, a few weeks went by. He said, look, we're not going to fight in Houston no more. We're going to Mexico to fight. So we're like, man, this is, kind of strange. So we didn't hear anything else from Don King or his people. So we, his secretary or somebody sent, normally he was the head man, and I forget his name, that would be in contact with us, make all the travel arrangements and everything. Well, this time we got everything from the secretary through email and no contact whatsoever with them. So we get to Mexico, and there's not a lot of publicity. There's not a lot of reporters. None of that. We're just basically staying in our hotel until fight night. So then we go to weigh-in, we go to fight night. And so in fight night, we get to the dressing room, and we get one of the people that come here, and they just hand us our gloves and like, here, you're up at 9 o'clock and HBO will come and get you. And,
Really?
And then we tell them, well, hey, aren't we going to get tested, for drugs? Or, isn't the commissioner going to come and check our gloves and our hands? No. You'll be up at a certain time and don't worry about it. We're like, man, what?
This is a world championship
fight.
fight.
World championship fight.
This is for the unified belts.
Yeah, lightweight belts. And that right there told us that we were going to be in some trouble that night. So Nate Campbell didn't get tested. We don't know how he wrapped his hands. It was all crazy. So I do clearly remember in the press conference, we did have one press conference there before the fight, and he looked at me and he said, look, you're in a sinking ship, and if you want to stay in that sinking ship, go right ahead. He looked right at my eyes and he said that. So right there and then, we knew that it was bad business, and maybe we shouldn't have took the fight, but it was already on the contract, and there were too many legal things that were gonna go against me if I wouldn't have took that fight.
Talk about maybe I shouldn't have taken the fight. A lot of people think you shouldn't have taken the second Malignaggi fight. Why did you?
Yep, and that's one of the things where, I can't really question it. It was up to my management, Mr. Willie Savannah. He's I didn't want to take the fight because
You won the first one.
Yeah, I won the first one. I didn't want to take the second one because he was a bigger guy. We're gonna go up to his hometown and fight there. So I really didn't want to take it, but Mr. Willie Savannah said, "Look, this is all we got. This is what we're gonna take." I said, "All right. You know what? I'm a fighter. If they tell me this is who you're gonna fight, the date, I'm gonna get ready for that."
You are a fighter and a very, very good fighter. 4-time world champion Juan Diaz. You can see him in action Saturday evening at the Arena Theater, taking on a guy that's 30 wins, 7 losses, and 2 draws in Mexican fighter Fernando Garcia. What do you know about him?
Well, I know that he's a power puncher. Because he has, I believe, 19 knockouts.
19
knockouts. So out of the 30 fights, you see a little more than half of his fights have been by knockouts. So this guy these guys are dangerous.
You've got 19 knockouts under 40 wins.
Yes.
I mean, that's nearly a 50%. And you said earlier you're not a big puncher.
Yeah.
So, I mean, is he really a power puncher?
Yeah, well, you bring up a good point. Maybe he's fought a lot of competition that, because there is competition out there. They're just looking for a paycheck, and you look at them and they fall.
See, that's what a sparring session with me would be like, Juan Diaz, is you would look at me and I would fall if we were inside those ropes over there. We are at Baby Bull Gym. Describe the feeling of what's going to happen on Saturday at the Arena Theater and the feeling of being in a pay-per-view fight.
Well, the difference, and I got over that difference right away.
Really?
Yeah, because whether it's on TV or not, you step in that ring and that other guy wants to knock you out. So the feeling is the same whether there's 10 people in the arena or there's 18,000 people.
How many more wins until you get a 5th title shot?
Well, at the most, maybe one more fight after this one, and we should be in there to contend for another world title.
How many more fights left in Juan Baby Bull Diaz's career?
Well, what I want to do, Kevin, is get that 5th world title, become a champion, and defend it 1 or 2 times, and that's it.
And then what happens after the fight game is over for Juan Diaz? You are a great community activist. You work with the League of Women Voters. You do countless things for Snowdrop Foundation, which is a pediatric cancer organization. What happens afterwards?
Afterwards, Kevin, I get to enjoy my time not as a fighter, because I tell you what, it's hell. It's hell. For people that don't know what us boxers go through, it's hell for 2 months. Right now, I'm training here every day. I have to watch my diet. I have to watch what I eat. I can't spend time with my children like I want to, with my wife like I want to. So I'm basically in solitary by myself for 2 months, getting ready, focused for this fight. So after boxing, I feel that my time is going to be better spent with my family, doing charitable things with organizations like the Snowdrop Foundation and other organizations that help the community. I feel that that's where my time is going to be spent after boxing.
Well, and I look for Baby Bull Gym to explode with all of the development that is going on around the streets out here and in the location that it's in downtown Houston. I think you're going to have your hands full with a lot of clientele coming in here, my friend.
Absolutely. And, my best, what I love to do the best is coming here in the afternoons. That's when we have the children, we have the kids, and just to see them, the parents come in here and looking at that 8, 9, 10-year-old and having that hope that he can become a world champion, or it's that right there is the best moments. Those were the best moments of my life.
Well, already in your Baby Bull gym, you've got, I think, 3 or 4 gold glove, gold medal winners,
yep.
and then also some silver medalists, too. So, you're doing great things for the community. You're doing great things for your family. Juan Baby Bull Diaz, I can't wait to watch you get back into the ring after your layoff from rotator cuff surgery. Can't wait to watch you climb back up the ladder, buddy, and get that shot at the title.
Thank you, Kevin, once again for all your support and for always being in my corner.
Well, listen, if I'm in your corner, literally, you got some problems that night, buddy, because I'm the kind of guy that's like duck and run. So my thanks for this episode of the Fuzzy Mike to you, 4-time world champion Juan Baby Bull Diaz. My thanks also to your brother Jose. My thanks to Alex Pata, your marketing manager. Your friend Andrew Kapolsky, my friend Andrew Kapolsky for initially setting this up, and Trish Klein, the executive producer. Don't forget, Saturday evening, the Arena Theater. It is the return of Juan Baby Bull Diaz as he takes on Fernando Garcia. He is going for another 6th consecutive win and another chance to vault him into title contention for a shot at that 5th world championship. Champ, we'll see you.
Thank you, Kevin.
Thanks for listening to the Fuzzy Mike. Check back often and stay fuzzy. Wait a second. Did we read that right? Stay fuzzy?